Felt brooches and more. Tip number 2, getting ready to sew and a little bit of needle safety. In the kits that I give, the needle comes in a little scrap spare piece of felt. The best thing to do is every time you stop sewing is to take your needle and pop it into the felt, and that way you won't end up knocking a needle itself onto the floor or catching it in your clothes and then stabbing yourself. We don't want to have any accidents, so this is a nice little bit of needle safety. Every time you stop sewing, pop it back in a little felt square, because if you knock this onto the floor, it's much easier to see and to notice than if you have just dropped a needle, which is much harder to see. So we'll pop our needle back in. And the next piece is getting your thread ready. So we're getting ready to sew. So the threads that come with this pack, and the threads that I like to use if I'm hand sewing with felt, are embroidery threads. So embroidery threads like this come with 3 strands. Let's use the red. See if I can get this to zoom in, if I splay that out. You can see that? They come with 6 strands, and we're going to split that down into 3. But the first thing we're going to do is make sure our thread isn't too long. So my suggestion is not sewing with anything longer than your arm. So I'm going to cut this piece. See the whole length of it there, I think. I'm going to cut this piece in half, because the first piece of red we're going to sew is on the red breast, so it's not a huge area. I'm going to take the thread and split it so that we've got 3 and 3. So this just makes it a little bit easier to sew with. It's not so thick, and you can get the needle in and out easier. If I'm sewing some little details like the eyes or the features, for example the reindeer, you would want to sew a little mouth with the reindeer one, then I might use the whole 6 strands. So I'm going to just pop that into a wee loop and save that for later, because I can use that for the next piece. And that's us ready to thread up our needle and get sewing.